Hi, it's Alex from laughingplace.com, and today I am joined by the cast of Disney Channel's The Villains of Valley View, a new sitcom about supervillains that premieres on Friday, June 3rd. You both play friends on Villains of Valley View, but I was curious to know, behind the scenes, have you guys actually become friends?
Oh, we're best friends. I mean, she's my best friend, like not just in the work sphere, but in life. So, I mean, our dressing rooms are right next door to each other's. I always joke that we don't have two separate dressing rooms. We just share one because we're always in like each other's dressing room, just talking.
Most of the time I just come in and I'll just sit on her couch and she can't tell me otherwise. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I mean, compared to even the first test pilot that we did, we didn't know each other then. We definitely, were a little bit on edge on if we trusted each other. But when we came back to do the reshoot of the pilot, and ever since then, even to the episode that we're shooting next week, our relationship has grown as it has in the show, along with like Amy and Hartley. And I think it's awesome to be able to work with your best friends. Like there's nothing else better than that, honestly.
Both of you deal with a lot of special effects on the show. It's just a pretty effects heavy show, especially for a sitcom. How extra complicated does that make things? Do you have a lot of time in advance working out choreography or blocking, or what's that process like for you guys?
I'm glad you brought up choreography and things like that, because that's definitely prevalent. I mean, we haven't been asked about that often. I mean, there are fights, or there's different things that we have to do that involve physicality, that we have an amazing stunt team that are there to help us and make sure that we're doing everything safely. I mean, granted, if there's a stunt that we can't do, then they have an amazing team of doubles. But a lot of the time they'll trust us to do things on our own, and they'll give us instruction and we'll rehearse it. For Jake, a lot of his things that are super strength based are all practical. So everything that I'm lifting in real life. So that's always really cool. But for Malachi, it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, for me to film these powers and these shape shifts, if you want to call them that, it's a little bit different than everybody else's powers. Like, he doesn't exactly get harnessed and flown into the sky or have to pick up heavy things. He kind of just stands there and waits for things to go down. No, but it's interesting to film. I mean, it's a lot different than anything I've ever done before. I mean, there's a ton of things that go into making just one singular like transition from Colby to a dog, or Colby to a rag or hammer, or anything he turns into. And I think it's really cool.
You both have lots of experience in the business, but your castmates on this show are probably younger than you're used to. How has that worked out for you guys? Does it make it easier because they have limitations on how long they can work? Do you get kind of a lighter work schedule, or not at all?
One Malachi, who's our minor on set. So he right, James, he has the limitations of hours. Mm-hmm. Although I don't think it's hugely, I haven't noticed any effect in that. Have you?
No, we have the casting department. They just did they did a terrific job. Yeah. They assembled just a really crack team. I mean, Isabella comes from the West End of London. She's been doing theater, feels like forever. And she's wise beyond her years in terms of comedy tricks and things she's picked up. Reed is, Kayden, you can give her a joke while the cameras are rolling and she'll turn around, a brand new one, she'll nail it. Now, this is not stuff that I'm used to seeing from kids. I was doing sitcoms back in the 90s, back in the heyday, right? And so getting a chance to do it 20 years later and watching.
Reed is always so real as well. Reed, I said to Reed, you'll be amazing as a film actor, because he always makes me laugh. I love how I've sometimes gone to Reed and gone, how do I say this line? How do I make this funny? And then he got me my biggest laugh in the network run through. He got me my biggest laugh because I was struggling with a line and he gave me an idea and I went, okay, I'll do that. And then I got the biggest laugh I've had to date.
Yeah. Reed Horstmann, who plays Jake, he's the oldest son, and it's been really wonderful to watch them in 20 episodes really just blossom as confidence shows up, then and instincts, and it's watching them. What was fun the other day was watching them hold for a laugh that didn't exist, we knew we were gonna, because we don't have a studio audience, you know, it's empty in that room.
Yeah,
The producers and us. And so he felt it was funny, and he held for a laugh, knowing that in the editing room they might sweeten it. And I just thought, that's savvy. That's pretty good for a 20-year-old right there.
Yeah.
Isabella, I was curious to know, you've done a lot of work internationally. I was curious to know, how does this production in Southern California differ from projects that you've worked on in the UK and elsewhere?
Well, everything I worked on in the UK was single cam, and it was all very dark subject matter. So there's a lot of grave digging and things like that I was shooting in the middle of winter outside. So this is definitely more comfortable, temperature-wise. But no, it's amazing. And I think that comedy was something that I had never done before, and it's so different for me. But I have so much respect now for people who do comedy, because it's so difficult, and it's so challenging and so fun and rewarding. And the family that you get doing a sitcom is so special. It's unlike anything else. I mean, it's amazing. You see these people, you know, every day. It's like working a normal job almost, because it's 9 to 5 a lot of the time. And it's great. I mean, I always say that like our dressing rooms remind me of a, you know, college dorm, or like a little family's house, and we all kind of pop out and pop into each other's rooms, and it's amazing. I love it. And I never thought that I would feel confident, you know, being funny, but I'm starting to get there, and I feel really happy on this job.
Kayden, I know on your website, you mentioned that you've been trying to get into a Disney Channel project for a while. You had callbacks for Andy Mack and High School Musical, the series. So I was curious to know, what was it like to finally land a role on a Disney Channel show after trying for so many years?
You know, it was almost like a relief. You know what I mean? Because I ever since the start of Andy Mack, which I believe I was 13, that was right at the beginning of my career when I first got my agent. Like a few weeks out, I got that call back, and it was just like, you know, big, like run into it. But then finally 6 years later, to be able to finally say like, oh my gosh, I'm on a Disney show. It's I still haven't comprehended it, you know, because like growing up watching Disney, like you want to be those people. And now I, you know, get to have this moment, and it's amazing. Like I fell on my knees and I cried, because I was just like, finally, all of the time and the effort and the energy that you put into these auditions, like you finally get to have your moment. And I get to work with such amazing people, and I've learned so much from Lucy, James, especially even Izzy. You know, they have such a like diverse background when it comes to the characters that they've played, and you know, I'm just happy to be part of this.
You're kind of like a Disney Channel legend at this point, with all the things that you've gotten to do, including Stuck in the Middle and Under Wraps. So I'm curious to know, how does your experience on Villains of Valley View compare with the past work that you've done for Disney Channel?
It's a lot different. I mean, I'm the only minor on this set, which is pretty cool. I like it, don't get me wrong. But the only thing that sucks is when I'm in school, I'm alone. Which is a good thing and a bad thing. I get the teacher myself, but also I'm kind of lonely in school. And I kind of get FOMO, fear of missing out with those fools outside, always watching movies on the TV or playing on our arcade games, all that stuff. But no, it definitely, I mean, it compares in that sense to the other shows, because for Stuck in the Middle, I was one of our, and then I mean a pretty solid amount of minors. They did split up.
It was a big group.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, but no, I mean, this show is amazing. I love the cast. Everybody's super awesome, super talented, super fun to work with.
Reed, I believe this is your first time doing a Disney Channel sitcom. What's it been like compared to your past work? I know you've done projects for Netflix in a variety of places.
Right away, Disney felt like a family. They definitely like tried to establish that early on. And, you know, Malachi is definitely a great example of that. He definitely has kind of become a little brother to me over the course of filming. But yeah, similar to Malachi, it's different than anything I've ever done. There's so much more engagement. And when I did my first couple of gigs, I was still a kid. I think I was a year older than Malachi on my first job. But now, you know, I'm a little bit older. I'm a little bit more involved, and I've learned a lot. And so to play a character with a couple of years of experience under my belt, I really want to incorporate everything that I've learned and really infuse a lot of things into this character, and work with, you know, the writers and the showrunners and the creators just to make this character Jake into someone that everyone can love. and the fact that they're so open to it, and they work with me, and everyone has such a great dynamic on and off set. It's really special. I'm very lucky.
James, I know you're taking time away from Port Charles to spend some time in Valley View. I was curious, how different is playing Vic from playing Valentin Cassadine on General Hospital?
Well, I've decided that Vic is lactose intolerant, and Valentin eats quite a lot of cheese. No, they're obviously different. You know, the Valentin character is a rogue, but you know, it's a soap opera and a lover, and he's always after the women. Vic, I can't escape the V's. Valentin, Vic, Villains of Valley View. General Hospital is produced by Frank Valentini. I can't escape the V's. But Vic is a child. You know, Vic is a kid. I don't believe he's beyond 14 years old, and I love that, because I think James was arrested emotionally at 14. I enjoyed it so much, I decided that that's where I was going to stay. So,
Lucy, you're no stranger to the worlds of comedy and superheroes. I was curious, how has your past experience prepared you for playing Ava in The Villains of Valley View?
Oh, not at all, Alex. It hasn't, because I haven't done multicam before, and I haven't played a villain before. So I'm all confused. But one of the reasons I wanted to do it was for those reasons, because I wanted to do something new, keep yourself on my toes, learn something new, feel like hopefully that I've learned something new, and that I can say I've done at least. I've really enjoyed the freedom of the multicam format in terms of, I think I said to you, James, didn't I, at the beginning, I'm learning that in multicam, there doesn't seem to be any allegiance to anything that's happened before. It's like, here's the joke kind of thing. And that was a new thing for me. I was like, oh, I can, and then suddenly it became terrifying to freeing. And I was like, oh, it's going to be funny. Yeah. I don't have to have a, deep reason. And so I've enjoyed that aspect of it, and I've enjoyed very much playing a villain and someone who isn't so much worried about the consequences of everything.
You can catch The Villains of Valley View only on Disney Channel beginning Friday, June 3rd.